Now, I'll be honest, ankle carry was never an option when I was looking where on my body I wanted to conceal carry. It wasn't until I started going to Sunday service more often that I realized anywhere inside the waistband just wasn't going to work. And here's why. For those unfamiliar with Sunday service, you often get a lot of friendly people greeting you at the front door as you make your way to your seat. And as I began getting to know more people, I found myself greeting more of them before and after service. Now, obviously, the issue wasn't them greeting me, it was how the greeting was done. I wish it was like with your friends where you just give them a quick dap and you keep moving, but obviously you're not going to do that with elderly people or adults outside your friend group. The main way people greeted there was with a hug. Now, you can see how that could be a problem if you're carrying inside the waistband with people getting that close. It was only a matter of time before someone bumped into something they may not be too fond of. Keep in mind, I live here in California where not everyone's a big Second Amendment supporter, so because of that, I started looking into other options like ankle carry. Now, I'm a bit familiar with ankle carry as I've made a few YouTube shorts in the past briefly talking about my experience, but in today's video, I wanted to dive a bit deeper into covering a few more things I've experienced while ankle carrying. Now, it's important to know with these videos, this is all based on my experience and my body size, so what I experienced may not be the same for you. So with that in mind, let's first dive into the pros, starting off with concealment. Now, ankle carry is way more discreet than any inside the waistband position, so I wasn't too worried about printing, especially with the type of pants I wear, which are usually some cargo pants. The way they fit and the texture around the ankle really helps break up the outline, so to me, it doesn't really look like anything out of the ordinary. Now, this isn't a green light to go grab your sister's pants or anything because the type of pants you wear still plays a huge role in how much you'll print. So just stay away from any skinny jeans and you'll be fine. Now, apart from the pants you wear, a big factor in how much you print ultimately comes down to the size of the handgun you choose. And you'll be able to determine what size handgun you can conceal carry based on the size of your calves and shins. Now, as you can see, I don't have the biggest calves or shins, so the largest pistol I was able to conceal carry comfortably was my M&P Shield, which is considered to be a micro compact pistol that's about the same size as my shin, and because of that, I wasn't able to add any grip extension without it sticking out, and aside from affecting concealment, could cause other issues down the line such as snagging, so I just stuck with the flush fit magazine. Next up is comfort. Now, the first time I tried to ankle carry, it definitely felt like I had some sort of ankle weight strapped onto my leg, which got pretty uncomfortable real quick. But after spending more time ankle carrying, I realized two things that really make a difference when it comes to comfort: the quality of the holster and the gun you're carrying. I've tried both, a cheap Amazon holster and a decently priced one, and I can confidently say you get what you pay for when it comes to quality and comfort. Another big factor in comfort is the gun you choose to carry. Most of my testing was done with my M&P Shield, but I also tried carrying my snub-nose revolver, which is a fully metal handgun, and the difference in weight between the two becomes pretty noticeable after a while. Now, when it comes to regular comfort and mobility, ankle carry definitely gives you the freedom to do pretty much anything from bending over to grab something or kneeling down to tie your shoe. I felt no discomfort whatsoever, which I found perfect for long drives because typically when I'm driving far, I usually end up unclipping my holster. But with ankle carry, there's really nothing digging into your stomach causing discomfort, making it a great option for carrying your firearm while still keeping it on your person while driving. Next up is something I like to call low profile access. Now, since you're carrying in a part of your body that most people don't pay attention to unless they're weirdly obsessed with toes or admiring your crazy shoe game, most people will never notice you have a gun on your ankle. I find this perfect in situations where you are seated down and there's a table in front of you where you can access your gun without drawing too much attention. You can scan the area, make sure it's safe, then you can slowly reach underneath the table, unholster your gun, and have it ready to go. Now, retention is something I really want to test out for myself. I know most people who ankle carry probably aren't thinking of running while carrying on their ankle, but I want to see how it held up. And again, what I found is it really depends on the holster you choose. You get what you pay for. If you think a cheap $10 holster is going to keep your gun firmly in place while you sprint, think again. You definitely want to spend the extra money and go with something more reliable and secure, like a leather holster that's specifically fitted to the size of your gun and has a strap to prevent your gun from flying out. Now, last but not least is of course safety. Now, I'll give some props to a cheap $10 ankle carry holster because despite of the neoprene material it's made out of, I was not able to stick my finger through and pull the trigger on my snub-nose revolver, which I thought was going to be a big issue, but I stand corrected. Now, the leather holster, like any other leather holster properly designed, will cover the trigger guard though this specific one did have a little gap at the end of the trigger guard, which I tried to see if I could squeeze my finger in and pull the trigger, but I was unsuccessful. So for the most part, definitely felt safe while ankle carrying, wasn't worried about my gun going off or anything while recording. Now, when it came to the cons of ankle carry, I found that there really aren't many. However, the few that I did come across are a pretty big deal, especially when considering where on your body you plan to carry. So starting off with the first, you have speed. Now, I understand this might seem fast to some because everything went smoothly, my pants lifted up quickly without getting caught, and I was able to unstrap and draw my weapon with no issue, but that's not always the case. And you already know how I feel about people, showing off a tight group or how fast they can draw when they're in a calm and control setting. To me, that doesn't mean much if you can't perform the same when there's adrenaline pumping and you're under real stress. So, of course, we had to test that out. And surprise, you can see this time I struggled to get a perfect lift, which took me longer to get my gun out and put the first shot on target. Now real quick, for anyone wondering why the target is placed so low to the ground, it's pretty much to prevent shooting over my backstop. Since I'm drawing and shooting from a low position, placing the target on my usual height would mean I'll be shooting upwards, which is not a good idea. Another thing you'll notice is how close I am to the target, which isn't ideal when drawing from ankle carry, bringing me to the next con, space. You're definitely going to need some to effectively draw from ankle carry. This isn't like appendix carry where you might be able to get away with drawing from up close and immediately start firing to defend yourself. I mean, for obvious reasons, you're just not going to be able to draw fast enough if the threat is right in front of you. And again, for obvious reasons, you wouldn't want to go down to the ground in front of a threat either way. Now, last on my list of cons is practice. Now, of course, no matter how you choose to carry, you should be practicing daily, if not at least twice a week, to get used to the feeling of drawing from concealment. But I did notice that because of where your firearm is located when ankle carrying, you definitely need to practice a lot more, because there are several ways to access your gun while ankle carrying, and each comes with its own challenges. For the most part, my training, I use a kneeling stance. However, you got to be careful with this stance because of the possibility of losing balance. It's important to make sure you're taking a knee properly and maintaining stability. Now, with that said, do I see ankle carry becoming my main everyday carry method? Absolutely not. It takes too long and it isn't practical at close distances, which is where most self-defense situations happen. Those two factors alone are major considerations when choosing how I carry every day. That said, I'm not completely ruling out ankle carry as an option because, like I mentioned earlier, there's definitely a time and place where it shines. For example, if you're in an environment where you'll be in close contact with people and don't want them to notice or bump into your firearm, ankle carry can be a great option. And if you're someone who spends a lot of time seated, whether it's for work or going out to eat, or just being in a situation where you'll be seated for a long period of time, ankle carry definitely has its advantages. It provides great comfort while carrying, and in some cases, allows you to draw your firearm more discreetly without bringing any attention to yourself. Lastly, and probably the most common reason people choose to ankle carry is for a backup gun. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not someone who carries multiple guns on me at once, but I like the idea and I don't discourage it. If for whatever reason your main gun goes out of battery and you find yourself in a situation where you need to defend yourself, you'll be glad you have a backup gun to rely on. So that's all I gotta say. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe. Also, if you're interested in seeing some ankle carry drills, make sure to check out my Instagram at ShadowTheWicked. Also, if you want to get in contact with me, that's a great place. But other than that, hope you guys have a good weekend. Stay safe and God bless.